Good so Bob, my friends. I hope this finds you well. And so, as the microphone seems to have been a resounding success, I thought I'd go with it again. Hopefully the audio is just as good. And hopefully this jacket doesn't creak too much. And so the gospel reading for today is from Mark 10, 46-52. As Jesus and his disciples are leaving Jericho, a great crowd follows him. Bartimaeus, what an awesome name. I love that name, Bartimaeus. He's sitting in his place of despair. How often do we do that? How often do we sit in our place of despair? Often, very often. We humans, we have a tendency to wallow in our trials just a wee bit, don't we? I don't know if you can hear the bells. Thank you. But we do. We have a tendency to wallow in our trials. We have a tendency to enjoy our misery just a little bit. Bartimaeus, though, he hears that Jesus is passing by. His physical blindness doesn't deter him. In fact, it ignites a hope. It ignites a desperate hope. He cries out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy upon me." Again, think of our own contexts. How often do we face something that seems insurmountable? And then we have that flash of hope, that feeling that things actually might just work out. It's such mad hope, but it's hope nonetheless. I imagine that's how Bartimaeus must have felt. Jesus, he can help me, and off he runs. Bartimaeus' cry reflects a deep need, a need that resonates with so many of us. How often do we find ourselves in a place of desperation? How often do we find ourselves calling out for Christ's mercy? Bartimaeus and his persistent shouting, it teaches us about the importance of being vocal about our needs. I'll tell you a story. I was at the training day last week, and there we talked about the importance of being honest about our needs. And frankly, I learned a lot that day. Because I think so many times the human urge, when we're asked if we're okay, is to say, yeah, I'm good, chugging on, as you do. Not always is that the answer though, friends. Not always. And with Jesus, he already knows where we are. He knows what's in here. We don't need to be polite. We don't need to hide things in case he thinks less of us. We can take those broken pieces. We can come before him. We can drop them on the desk in front of us. We can put them at his feet. And very often with tears in our eyes say, "Lord, help me." I approach him like that a hell of a lot. I'm not going to pretend I don't. A heck of a lot. The crowd that have gathered, they try to shut Bartimaeus up. They say to him, "Shut up, man, shut up. We want to listen to him." And that only spurs him on. That only makes him louder. This speaks to our prayer lives also. We're told to ask God for what we need. And yet we're told, ask more than once. Keep prayer ongoing. It's not a chance to just walk up to God and drop a laundry list on his lap. Say, "Yeah, boss, when you get a chance, can you sort that out for me?" That's not what prayer is. Prayer, it's a chance for us to open an ongoing conversation, a dialogue with our Maker. But what really strikes me about this passage is Bartimaeus' faith. Despite his blindness, he recognizes Jesus' identity. Even the blind man sees. Jesus transcends ability levels. He transcends intellect. He transcends all barriers. Bartimaeus calls him Son of David. That title has messianic significance. But it's that title, it's that faith that prompts action. He refuses to shut up. He knows he's right. And he knows that this is the moment that he has been waiting for his whole life. There's a line from an Eminem song, believe it or not, that speaks to me of this moment. I can't remember, Lose Yourself, I think it's called. He says at the beginning, if you had one shot, one opportunity, would you capture it or would you let it slip? Bartimaeus, that's his moment. That's his shot, and he goes for it. He captures that moment with both hands. Jesus stops and calls him. He calls Bartimaeus. All this noise, all these people around Jesus trying to shout their own petitions, all this noise around Jesus, people trying to herd him on. Come to my house, come to my house. No, come to my house. This crowd saying to Bartimaeus, shut up, dude, shut up. Bartimaeus shouting out, yo, Jesus, Jesus, help me. And then it happens. Jesus calls him. Bartimaeus is astounded. He cannot believe it. Jesus has called him. He throws off his cloak, symbolizing his old life, and he runs to Jesus. What an absolutely beautiful image that is. How many of us remember that moment that we came to Christ? Was it explosive? Did we throw off the cloak? Did we throw off the old life, or did we run to him? This moment for Bartimaeus, like I just said, it's explosive, it's sudden, it's liberating. Jesus has called him. He is so close to being free, to being cured, to being better than he was yesterday. And so Bartimaeus approaches Jesus, or rather he's led there. And then Jesus asks him, Jesus says to him, what do you want me to do for you? Wow. Take a moment, friends. Put yourself in Bartimaeus' sandals for just a minute. All this has happened. You fought your way through the people telling you to shut up. And now he's called you. Now you're stood before him, and now he asks you that question. What do you want me to do for you? That question is so profound. It's an invitation for Bartimaeus to articulate his need. This is his moment. Jesus already knows, of course. Jesus knows everything. But he wants Bartimaeus to express what's in his heart. He gives each of us that chance. Each of us, he gives time, he gives space, and he gives freedom to articulate what we have in here. And sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can't. I saw a picture once. It absolutely encapsulated this. It says, Dear Lord, and there is just a mass of letters. It looks like somebody's just dumped a load of letters on a page, in a pile. Amen. How often are our prayers exactly like that? Even mine. This, I've said before, doesn't give us all the keys, doesn't give us all the answers, doesn't make us any better than anybody else. So often, my prayers are just, Jesus, amen. It's like tossing him a ball of string and hoping he can untangle it. But honestly, sometimes that's the only way to give him what's truly in here, because that's what he wants. Bartimaeus responds in 5 words. He says, Rabbi, I want to see. How simple a request. How small an ask. Rabbi, I want to see. And not just his physical sight, although I imagine that's probably 95% of it. No. Bartimaeus is asking for a transformation for his entire life. All his life he's waited. Now, here it is. This moment he stands before Jesus. And he answers with 5 words, Rabbi, I want to see. It's the need of his heart, though. And that's what Jesus decides to help him with first. Jesus responds and says to him, Go, your faith has healed you. Immediately, Bartimaeus receives his sight. And then we're told he starts to follow Jesus along the road. Again, let's put ourselves in Bartimaeus' sandals. The first face he has ever seen could very well have been the face of Jesus stood in front of him. A face full of love. A face that said, it's okay, I'm here. It's going to be all right. I can't imagine how beautiful the world must have looked to Bartimaeus. And then Bartimaeus gains his physical sight. But spiritual sight is equally as important. Bartimaeus recognizes Jesus as the source of his healing. He chooses to follow him. How many of us does that resonate with? How many of us has Jesus healed over the years? And then we make that choice there and then. Lord, I'm with you. You need a man? I'm here. Let's do it. Jesus teaches us that true sight is not merely about seeing the physical world, but it's about understanding our place in God's kingdom, understanding that Jesus is there for us when we cry out and when we don't. He's always there. He's always full of love for us, in the good times and the bad. And so, my friends, as we reflect on Bartimaeus' story, let's consider our own lives. Like the crowd, are we often sometimes dismissive of people's needs? Or do we have that boldness of Bartimaeus? Do we call out for mercy and for healing? Do we have that one moment, that one shot, as we were told, and then do we capture it? Do we stand in front of Jesus, and as he asks each and every single one of us, what do you want me to do for you? What is our answer? My friends, that question is for you to take away. What is your answer? Jesus stands in front of you, this wonderful little community we've got here. He stands in front of you and he says, what do you want me to do for you? What would your answer be? My friends, let's be courageous in our requests. Let's recognize that our faith can lead to massive, massive transformation. Transformation that we never believed was possible. Again, I say it every time, I'm proof of that. I never imagined I'd get here. Guys like me, I've said before, we're not supposed to make it, and yet here I am. It's not about me preening. It's about me saying that God truly is good, and that the things in the world that he does, they are miraculous. My friends, may we also have the wisdom to follow Jesus, not just with our sight, but with our hearts. Let's acknowledge that one moment with the Lord could change everything. Bartimaeus had one moment in front of him, and everything changed for that man. And my friends, as we draw our time together today to a close, let's remember the example of Bartimaeus. Let's cry out in faith when we need it. Let's seek healing. Let's follow Christ on the road ahead. And my friends, as we bring our time together today to a close, I would also come before you and ask for prayer again. This time not for myself. And there is a group I've been working with since I was ordained called The Ordinary Office. I'll link their YouTube to the description here. And the founder, our leader over there, it's a church that brings together people that have otherwise been wounded by church. It's a church that brings together people that carry disabilities like myself. It's a church that is built on inclusivity. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. But we recently lost our leader, Dave. He was called home to glory. And so, my friends, I know I begged your prayers last week, but if I could beg your prayers again this week, my friends, please, could you keep Dave and his wife Denise in your prayers? I would truly appreciate that. As always, my brothers and sisters, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Oh, and I finally had a hit on the email address, which will be down here somewhere. I finally had a hit on there. And so to answer the question that I was given, I forgot to ask if you wanted to remain anonymous. I'm sorry. So what I will do is I will keep the anonymity, and I will simply say the answer to your question is yes. Yes, you were the first. Well done. I'll see like a little tin cup or something made just for you. But as always, friends, email address is there. Don't be afraid to reach out. Comment on the video if you want to. It's fine. I always answer if I see them. And of course, as always, tell your friends. It's the only way this channel is going to grow. Word of mouth. Because I don't do advertising. You don't want to see this face on telly. Anyways, my friends, have a wonderful week. Whatever you're doing, be blessed, be careful. And above all, remember this. You are a beloved child of God. No matter what else happens, you have that. God bless you, my friends, and take care.